20th, 2016. Our topic for our first session was add-ons for Google Apps for Education. I'm accessing this blend space activity right from my Technology Integration Google Classroom. This is also where I will be posting this video, so that way you can watch to see what happened during that day. So as you can see, we were meeting in the library and we started off by discussing what is the difference between an extension, a web app, and an add-on. So it's important to know that an add-on and for Google Apps for Education is just an extra tool for a document, a sheet, or a form. They're little things that are going to help make your life easier, hopefully. An extension is something we're going to talk about at our next EdTechify session in October. And extensions are the things that will pop up on your menu up here at the top of your Chrome browser. So today, focusing on add-ons. You can add as many add-ons as you want. You can remove them. You can make sure that they do go back and forth in your Chrome browser whenever you're logged into your Google Apps account. So you can use it multitude of different ways. There's a little short video here that will kind of explain what that is, and I'll let you click on that on your own time. So moving on. So one of the things we've discussed at our tech meetings that we've had is collaborating and sharing ideas of what extensions, what add-ons, what things we are using, so that way we can get a better list and help each other learn. So what I did is I put together a Padlet, and this Padlet's going to be shared out as well. I have Kieran's Teacher Toolbox linked there, so you can click on it. It has the link to what is the difference between all these three, which we just looked at. And then on here, you're going to see that I have made a specific link to a spreadsheet for each one, where you're going to be able to add a specific add-on that you've used and think has been very helpful. You can give a short description, so that way we kind of know what is the add-on for, and then you can also, if you are able to, find a link to a video or something that will help show us how to use that add-on. So I will pause this here for a second. Okay, so here's the Padlet that is going to be shared out. We're going to just focus on the GAFE add-ons list, so I'll click here in order to open up the spreadsheet. This is where we're going to start today. So on this spreadsheet that I've created for everyone to add to, we have add-ons for docs at the bottom, for sheets, and then also for forms. There are no add-ons currently for Google Slides or the presentation, or for drawings. So we're going to start with the docs, and as you can see, there is a bunch of them that are listed here, what the add-on is, a description of what it's used for, and then over here is a link to a YouTube video. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to go down to the lesson plan tool for docs, which is an add-on, and I'm going to take you to that from there. Okay, as you can see in the next slide of the blend space that I put together some tutorial playlists on my YouTube channel, and I'm hoping to continue to add to things throughout the year that may be helpful to you. So this is just a video recording of how to add an add-on to GAFE, but I'll actually walk you through the steps right now. So I am in a new doc right now. Remember, doc is the word processing with the blue menu. I'm going to go over here to the menu that says add-ons. As you can see, I've got a bunch of them, and some of you may have nothing there, which is a possibility. If you go all the way down to the bottom, you see two choices. You can get add-ons, and that's where I'm going to go to look for new ones. And if I want to manage the add-ons that I've already added on here, I can delete them off if I want to, or uninstall them. So I'm going to say get add-ons. And the first one that we are looking at is the lesson plan tool. So I'm going to do a search up here in the top. And it brought up for me something called Lesson Plan Submit. And that's not the one that I want to use, so I'm going to look for something else. Okay, once I have found the lesson plan tool for docs in my add-ons, I can see a preview of some screenshots. Sometimes they add a little video from YouTube in there that you can see how it works. And down here underneath, it will give a small overview of what the add-on is for. Since I already have this one, that's why it says Manage. If I would like to add something new, I would add it to my Google Docs add-ons, and then it would run and it would pop up underneath my add-ons. So now to use that lesson plan tool, I'm going to click on Start. Your add-ons are going to pop up over here to the right side of your screen, no matter what you're in. This is actually a very cool tool if you're looking for resources to help students on a particular skill that you are teaching. So you can either enter a search keyword or term, or I can go by the standards. So if I say I want to look for Common Core math, and I'm looking for fractions, I can see here that there is a game called Tug Team Compare Fractions. The arrow here is what's going to actually insert it into my document, which you can see over here that I have already done. So let's say in my lesson plan I say, oh, where is that really cool activity I'm going to put on my Google Classroom? I can just click here on that activity now, and it will open up. It is an Open Ed resource. These resources from Open Ed are also under some of the resources from the Star Renaissance resources. And the cool thing about these is they are integrated directly with Google Classroom. So if I want to post this as an assignment, I can just click my Google Classroom button then and add it there. But to see how it would work, the students would click play. And then here's an example of the interactive activity that they would do or I would do with them. So that's one of the activities that are there. There's more than just games though. So if I go back to Common Core Language Arts and I'm looking for compound sentences, I can see that now there are actually videos that will explain what it is. It tells you the age range, and it also gives what standards are covered. If I continue to scroll down, there's even an assessment item here. This is for older students, of course, but it is something I can insert over here. So let me actually insert that in my document. And here, put it right there. I can easily just do the formatting here. And click on the resource again. And it will load up the assessment. Okay, start. Once again, it can be integrated into Google Classroom since it's an Open Ed resource. Okay, so that's my first add-on that may be very helpful to you as a teacher. To close out of the add-on, you just click the X and then it will go away. The second one I have listed is called MindMeister. What MindMeister is, it takes a bulleted list. So let's say you're doing some brainstorming with students and you want them to create an image or like a brain map of something that they're doing here. So the first bullet is going to be the main topic, which shows up in the middle, and then the additional bullets that pop up underneath are going to be the other bubbles that will pop up along the side. So how did I get that to work? So I first started with my bulleted items. You highlight the text that you want to create into a mind map. Go to MindMeister and say Insert as Mind Map. You'll see that it's thinking down here at the bottom. And then there it is. It's going to put my mind map in here. Move it around, text wrap around it if I need to, and make it smaller or bigger, resize it, depending on what I want to do. So you have different options with MindMeister. All of these that I'm giving as examples are under that spreadsheet that is going to be our collaboration sheet. I'm not going to go through all of them, of course, in this video, but I will hit some of the main ones that may be helpful to you as a teacher. So going back, we got our MindMeister. Something that I thought was helpful at the lower level and maybe at the upper level as well is another add-on called Rhyme Finder. So let's say we're working on the family. for the day. So if I want students to come up and brainstorm a list of all the at words that they know, they can brainstorm and then they can even get moving. How are they going to do that? They are going to highlight the ending, so at. We're going to go to the add-on Rhyme Finder and hit start. Over to the right, it will pop up here, and I'm going to say find word with ending, which I did the at. And let's see what pops up. There we go. Starts with spat, snap. Now, some of these you're going to say, those are not real words. Exactly. Some of them are nonsense words, but there are some very helpful ones in here too. Now, some of them you might say, well, eat does not rhyme with at. The reason was I clicked find word with ending. Now, if I say find rhyme, now they should all rhyme. Spat, slat, hat, bat, chat, etc. So you get the idea. Students then can copy. So Control C to copy, Control V will paste it, and they can continue to add their rhymes that they found in the rhyme finder. X out of that one. Okay. Another kind of mind mapping tool that you can add shapes to is called Glyphy. So for Glyphy, I'm going to just start a add-on here, and I'm going to go to Glyphy Diagrams, open sidebar. If I want to create a new Glyphy or diagram, I would click here. Here is where it's going to store all the Glyphies I've made and gives me the option to either edit them or insert them into a document, which is what I've done here. I'm going to click on so you can see what it looks like. You pick the type of diagram you want. Awesome, it has a Venn diagram. That's something you can do. Organizational chart or flow chart. I'm just going to click on the Venn diagram. And let's use the Venn diagram outline. Drag it onto here. And I can resize it and do whatever I want with it. Drag on the other shape. Make them overlap like a Venn diagram would. And then you get the option that it will let you edit text, and it will also let you edit the shape properties if you want to, the colors and all the different things there. Tools are at the top here. You can arrange them, bring to front, send to back, however you want to do it. You can insert a hyperlink. So if they want to share information, they can hyperlink it. They can add a little pop-up note or a comment. And then you can also link and connect things together. I put a star over here, and I wanted to connect it to the Venn diagram. I would just use the connector tool, click one of the points, and then I could just have it link right to the bottom there. So that way it is connected. You can also use the pointer tool if you need to click on things and select them. Once you're done, go up here and click Save, and then it will add it to your Glyphy diagrams in your menu here for your add-on. Okay, we're back with another sample of something that may be helpful as an add-on. It is called Orange Slice. It's a teacher rubric, and it allows you to grade things fairly quickly and give feedback very quickly to students as well. So I have an example of my Google Classroom here, and here is an example of a rubric that another teacher and I had set up. So for her lesson that she had, she was having students use CaptureCast, which I'm using as well, to record themselves speaking in Spanish. And then from there, she was going to listen to the recordings and grade them using this rubric here. So the first step that we had to do together is we went to the add-on and we said Orange Slice Teacher Rubric, Score Rubric. we had to first set up our rubric. So that's where we entered the categories in that you see there. To it here. So we were able to set up the point level, enter in our content. As you can see, I didn't finish entering them all in. And what's going to happen is when she goes in to score this, so the student, we're going to pretend that the student is done. And we're going to score it now. So here's each student's. And I'll go back to my Google Classroom here. So we made a copy for each student of this rubric. So that way, when she was ready to, she could just click on their copy of the rubric and then go to score that I'm just doing here. You can decide to add additional feedback by checking the box. So we could type in some feedback and instantly just give them their point value. Give feedback again, assign point value, feedback, assign the point value, and then you can even get a summary of the whole assignment of how they did. You can weight each category if you want to, and you can also do some other settings which are pretty cool. Add extra credit points and mark if it was late or missing and so on. So after I hit process grade, it's going to give me, of course, a final grade. It will highlight what point value I assign them for each section, and then it will instantly give me a grade with a percent as well as their summary feedback here. So here's what the students would actually see. Now back in Google Classroom then, after I've graded that students, you have to make sure that you select all students and return the work to them. So that way they can receive the feedback back through Google Classroom and see how they did on their assignment. So that one is called Orange Slice Teacher Rubric. There's also a Orange Slice Student Rubric, which allows them to give feedback and grade each other as peers, which is very cool. Okay, I'm just going to look over some of these other ones then and mention them briefly, and if you have any other questions, please let me know. There's another rubric add-on called Joe Zoo. It demonstrates feedback and grading assignments using those rubrics, and it is right up here. Works a little bit different than the Orange Slice one, so it is worth a shot to check them both out. If you're a math teacher, GMath has an add-on for forms, sheets, and docs. So it allows you to create mathematical expressions, put graphs into your assignments and work, so that way students can see those things correctly and clearly. One is called Stoplight Annotator. The Stoplight Annotator will allow you and students to highlight parts of information in a document. So let's say you shared a story with them and they have to find the main idea, key details, and an example. So they would use the Stoplight Annotator. So if I'm looking for the main idea and I say that is it, I'm going to make that green. You should be able to have that come up. Find the key details. So it's just a different color coding highlighting that they can share back to you then, so you can see how they did on the assignment. Last one that I have is called Word Cloud Generator. So it will take a bunch of words within a document and create a word cloud then with it. We've all seen those before, but it's just a neat way to kind of see what words are coming up the most within your teaching or their writing. So there are more out there. Please check out the list for the Docs add-ons, and I'm going to move on to the Sheets then, because this is another important one. Sheets, there's lots of different options. You can have things tied together so that way you have a document merge using AutoCrat. Doctopus goes with Google Classroom, so you can give group work and it will hand out specific assignments to specific groups. Pretty easy to set up and use. Flubaroo is the one I'm going to cover next because it is very helpful when you have a Google form and you have multiple short answer or extended response in there. You, of course, have the form set up to grade the multiple choice or those part quite easily, but Flubaroo is going to be your add-on to give feedback and grade students typing efficiently. So I'm going to pause this and bring that up. Okay, so whenever I create a Google form, it allows me to have a response sheet that is a Google Sheet, which is kind of what I see here. I actually have taken from Edpuzzle the assessment of a video I may have assigned, and you can download or export the data as a sheet or a CSV file, which then in turn looks like this. So here are my students, gives me my percent, and then here. But if I have an extended response question on there, I'll need to grade it. So I want to make sure that I can do this efficiently. So I'm going to go to Add-Ons. I would add add-ons for sheets in the same manner. You go down to get add-ons. I'm going to go to Flubaroo, and I'm going to grade the assignment. Now, something to remember with Flubaroo, and if you're using Google Forms a lot, when you first create your Google form, you have it all set up for students. You'll then want to yourself take the form quiz and make it your key. So you're going to answer all the correct answers into that. So that way you can reference it in Flubaroo so it can grade everyone else's. So here it's looking at it and it says, what kind of option am I going to give? Percentage of video watched. I'm actually going to skip grading for that. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to give it normal grading. Correct questions out of 4. Normal grading. Grade out of 100. Normal grading. Last scene. And I'm going to change that one. And then turn in. Okay, skip grading. So you have different options. You can ignore things. You can grade by hand, which is kind of like what we're looking at. And different things that you can pick from there. Okay, after I say continue, step 2, it says this is where you're going to select which submission should be the answer key. So I'm going to select this one because it has all of the correct answers. Remember, as a teacher, you set the key so that way you can be ready to go. Click continue again. And then Flubaroo is going to grade your assignment. Once it grades your assignment, if you notice at the bottom of my spreadsheet that I had, it adds a new sheet, and this one is going to be called grades. So I have my student submissions here, and then I'm going to have one over to the right that will be called grades. Okay, so once it has finished the grading, it's going to give me over here a summary. Of course, it would give me my students' usernames here as long as I made sure I collected them from the Google form, the submission time and such. So it will also let me see here if I want to email the grade with the student, share it through Drive, or not do any of those things. So we found out that the Gmail and email sharing it, that option, may or may not be successful. So we suggest clicking when you want to share the grade, share it through Google Drive, and they'll have it in their shared with me folder, which is very cool. On here you'll see their score. If there's a part where it has to, they have to do an extended response, I can click on that part of it and grade that as well. So let me see if I can show you that. Okay, so here's a sample of an extended response question or short answer on your form. So I'm grading the question by hand now, so I can go forward and backward through each student. So it's just basically a click to the next student after you complete it. I can read my student's response. So here's the student's submission. The question was, tell me about your summer vacation. I only had one extended response, but if I had multiple ones, I could go to each one separately before I go to the next student. I type in, I see what they have there, and then I can enter them a point value. So maybe they only got, 2 out of 5 or whatever it was. I enter the points there, and I can actually give them feedback here that only they will see in their shared with me report of how they did. And then I'll hit set grade. And it's going to put that grade directly into that Flubaroo spreadsheet that will then share it out with students. Okay, close that window. I'm going to say, well, how do I make sure I share it out to students? Go back to the add-on, go to Flubaroo, go to share grades. Now we found out that once you share it one time, it's going to say, oh, you can't share it again if you make changes. if you make sure that you click on the X, I'll show you that you can resend it again. So we're going to send it to, of course, the Google username. This is what I collected. And I'm going to do via share Google Drive. So not the email, especially with the middle school students, they're not going to have that, or the elementary. So you want to share it through their drive. You can include a list of the questions and scores. You can include your answer key so they can look back. And I can even type another message again. I'll click continue. It's probably going to tell me that you can't send it again because I already have the X marked in that box. So let's see if it lets me do it. Should we close on? If I want to resend something, it's just as easily as deleting that X in the emailed grade section and then sharing again. There it goes. It says no grades were shared because they already had their grade shared. So now if I take that X out and try to reshare it again, it will allow me to reshare it to the student. So if I needed to make an adjustment to their grade or regrade something again, I could. So that's Flubaroo. Awesome add-on. Some of the other add-ons that might be helpful. I'm going back into here. Once again, we have GMath, which is going to allow you to create math expressions, create a graph, and so on. I can do two more add-ons I want to mention quickly. One is the QR code generator add-on, and one is the roster sync. I'm going to go to the roster sync one first. So if I launch that add-on, it is going to make an easy way for me to take all the students that are in my Google Classrooms and turn it into a spreadsheet. So it will have all their usernames. So if I say select the sheet to sync, so it's going to be sheet 1 here, I'm going to select my Google Classroom course. So if I say my tech integration one, and I want to sync it from Classroom into my sheet. So I'm going to name the sheet after the course and run the sync. So it's going to take all of the usernames of people that are already in that Google Classroom, and it's going to put it directly in a spreadsheet that I could use for grading purposes or just to have information. So it's fetching my roster, and here it goes. It gives their classroom status. And if I scroll over, there's everyone's first, last name, and their Google login, their email. So I have everyone there. I can then sort by last name, which it's already alphabetical, or I can sort by beginning name, however I want to work it. So that's an easy add-on. If I close out of this one, I'll make a new sheet. The other one I want to show you is the QR code generator. So what it's going to do is it's going to take QR codes. So if I type in, let's say I want to make a website QR code for my students to be able to just scan and go to, especially for younger students. Using a QR code reader may be a lot easier than having them type in a website. So if I say, okay, here's this website that I want to create a QR code for. I want to draw a little border around it. I can decide what the size is going to be on it, and then I'm going to generate. And it should give me a QR code. Open document. And here is the QR code that would take me to starfall.com. So some cool things you can do with it. Select it, Control-C to copy it, and then if I was somewhere else, I could Control-V and paste it anywhere. So if I wanted to put it in my newsletter or something like that, I could use that QR code generator. There's also an extension we'll talk about next month that will show you a quick way to create QR codes as well. So that's really cool. All right, going to the last section of our PD is add-ons for Google Forms. So many of you are using Forms now to get going on quizzes and other things. You may or may not see the puzzle piece. If you don't have any add-ons, you probably don't. So to get add-ons in Forms, go to the 3 dots or the hot dogs and go to add-ons. And some of the main add-ons I wanted to share with you is one called Form Limiter, one called Choice Eliminator, And then form notifications are also some of them. So you can see that I've listed some of them already here. And there's that GMath one again too. So I guess the biggest one is form limiter. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to set a date and time for that form to be available. So if I go to that one and say form limiter, set limit, let's say I forgot to turn off the accepting responses and I don't want the students to continue to share through that. And I didn't set it to only allow one response. So they could keep responding to that quiz. So I can actually, with form limiter, when I'm setting it up, say I want to limit the date and time. And I want it on September 26th at 5 o'clock. It's going to stop accepting form responses. So that means that after that, it is closed. That means they cannot access that form anymore. So that's a really nice way to turn it off, the accepting responses. You can also set a max number of form responses. So if you know you have 20 kids in the class, you can say after 20, then I know that I am done accepting responses. You can also change what certain cell or spreadsheet that your responses are going into with the form limiter. Okay. Form notifications is also available when you are setting up your responses here. So if you collect email addresses, limit the number of responses, you can also set it to notify you how many when you have a response to that. So let me go to that one, form notifications. So instead of me getting an email every time a student sends me their form, I'm going to say notify me, but after 20 responses. So that way I know when everyone's done, I just remind myself I have to go back in and see how they did. You can also notify the respondents. So you can let them know too when they are done responding to the form as well. So those are some of the great features of add-ons for Google Apps for Education, and I'm going to walk you through the next step to finish up this activity. There's a link in here to my YouTube channel for tutorials. You can check that out by clicking on here and adding that or subscribing to my channel so that way you can access tutorials at any time. Pass these. Today, if you could please fill out this Google form, and it is within this blend space, which is going to be listed above the video here. The form will just allow me to see what do we need to work on for our PD sessions or what things were helpful to you. If you like the webinar features of being able to watch this at home on your own, that's very helpful. And then the last part of this, if you are doing the webinar and you would like to get credit, you will need to complete this Google quiz, and that will end our Google Apps for Education Add-Ons EdTechify Your Teaching Session 1 for the 2016-2017 school year. Thank you so much for watching, and please let me know if you have any other questions, and I'd be happy to help. Have a great day.